Congress is kicking off the new session with lots of new faces. We'll talk about what that means for the issues that Christian conservatives care about. This is the CitizenLink Report. I'm Stuart Shepard, along with our Senior Vice President of Government and Public Policy, Tom Minnery. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Stuart, and Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year to you. Welcome to 2011. I never thought it'd get here. It's taken quite a while. With all these new faces in the Congress, we're going to see things done a little differently, particularly in the House. And for the opening day, they've said that they will, as you watch this, it may have already happened, they will be reading the entire Constitution out loud. What's the significance of that?
Well, it is significant, and part of the significance will be the amount of ridicule leveled by the Democrats at this exercise in nonsense. But actually, the Constitution is a very succinct document, particularly compared to the lengthy bills that the Democrat majority in the last Congress have been laying on the House members at midnight regarding health care reform. But it's an important issue. What does the Constitution require? What does the Constitution allow? And it's such a basic issue that a lot of people have begun reading the Constitution, realizing that much of what Washington does is not in there. You cannot find anything about abortion in the Constitution. What's happened here, and a little background. Early in the life of the new country, in about 1803, there was a Supreme Court decision that was very famous, Marbury versus Madison, in which the Supreme Court gave itself the right to broadly interpret the Constitution. That was not a good thing. And the problem is several of the clauses in the Constitution are written rather broadly to handle contingencies. Yeah. One of them is the Commerce Clause. It says, nothing that the states do shall be allowed to inhibit the commerce of the United States. Now let me tell you the extent to which people have taken the Commerce Clause and the court has assented to it. Years ago, there was a serious claim made in a federal court that by denying same-sex marriage in a state, we would be violating the Commerce Clause. Fewer bouquets of flowers would be sold. Yeah. Fewer wedding cakes would be sold. Fewer churches would be rented. And that impinges on the commerce of the United States. So
which is not what the Constitution was getting at, even remotely.
No, nothing like that at all. But the real reason we've gotten to where we're so far removed from the Constitution is that in the 20th century there was this idea started in Europe that an elite group of government employees, government executives could best manage the affairs of the country rather than people exercising freedom on their own, establishing private enterprise. Well, that grew to a head in the New Deal when there was a real problem, the Depression. President Roosevelt wanted to impose many, many new controls. The Supreme Court at that time, rightfully so, said you don't have the authorization to do that. Yeah. That resulted in President Roosevelt trying to pack the court in 1937 with 6 liberal new members who would give him the court majority he wanted. Well, he was having to retreat in a hail of bullets for that one, but the court then did relent and give Congress a lot of new opportunity, a lot of new authorization to interpret and regulate and re-engineer as they see fit. And we're seeing the effects of that now. Now, executive agencies are supplanting Congress. We see the president quietly issuing through an executive order something that the Congress turned down. Yeah. The regulation of greenhouse emissions by public utilities and power plants. Congress said no. The executive agency says, you want to bet? They've issued that.
And we're seeing the same thing over in the Medicare area where they're setting up what was called death panels by the opponents, but they couldn't get it through Congress. So now by regulation, they're going to set up this end-of-life consultation paid for with federal funds.
That's a good point. There was such an uproar over the fact that the federal government would counsel you on when is your time to die that it was taken out of the health care reform bill. But now the executive agency of the White House is quietly reasserting itself and reasserting those death panels. And I heard today, I don't know if this is confirmed, but there's a regulation that deals with breast milk, a federal regulation in the new health care law that requires an employer to set aside time and space for a nursing mother to express breast milk for later use by her nursing child when she's home from work. A good idea, an important thing to do, but should the federal government be mandating the workplace environment to that degree? I think not. But that's where we are, and that's why it's important and good for Congress to spend some time on the Constitution, realizing how simple it is. And I believe that they intend, the Republicans in the House intend to require that every bill carry specific constitutional authorization as the reason why it's legitimate to carry that bill forward.
That got to be a popular reporter question in the last Congress. A reporter would ask, where is the constitutional authority for this? And it threw some of the members of Congress. They really had no idea.
That's right. There were some dumb answers given to that question.
Well, and some that made up rights, or some that said that they could do essentially whatever they want. It's so important to understand that the Constitution is the document that outlines what the government is authorized to do. It puts limits on government. It says you can go this far and no further. But there are those on the liberal side of things, particularly in the courts, who want to see it as a living document. It's however far we want to say you can go in the interpretation of that.
Yeah, at the founding, the representatives from the individual states were very leery of a strong federal government. They just threw off the yoke of oppression by a strong central government in England. And they wanted no part of a strong central government. Well, times have changed and the government has grown stronger for some good reasons, but Republicans believe it's gone way, way overboard.
Now, very quickly, I want to get some bullet points past you here. Just thoughts about the upcoming Congress. First, what legislation is on your list that you'll be watching coming up in the new session?
Well, I'd like to see if there's any way possible to repeal abortion, at least, from the health care law. The Republican majority, in its agenda for its new leadership, said we will reform the health care law, we'll end it, we'll cancel it, at least we'll get rid of abortion in it. They named abortion as one of those issues that they will deal with. Right. So we're watching that carefully.
What else is on your list? Anything?
Well, just to repeat that the new House Speaker, John Boehner, is a good man. He's a very conservative man. He's a social conservative. And he has allowed some very creative young people around him in leadership. Mike Pence comes to mind. Paul Ryan comes to mind, the young man who's head of the House Budget Committee. Eric Cantor comes to mind. These are people who are going to be putting forth ideas that take the country back to a reliance on the Constitution, ideas that will be very significant for the new Congress.
Tom, there are a lot of expectations going into this particular session of Congress. We'd like to see health care repealed in its entirety. We'd like to see a lot of what was done by the last Congress that still got money in the pipeline, if you will, to have that shut off because we're so deep in debt at this point. Our expectations are high, but what's in the realm of possible? What is actually possible for the House majority of conservatives to do, especially up against a Senate that's still being led by Harry Reid and the Democrats?
Well, it's not likely that there will be a repeal of the health care law in the next 2 years. Obviously, the Democrats still control the Senate. Obviously, the president regards this health care law, unpopular as it is, to be his signature legislation. I mean, that's the big reason why they lost so severely in the elections in November. But it's not probably going to be able to be repealed because the president would have to sign the repealer bill. He won't do that. But the Republicans have the power to hold hearings on aspects of all of this. For example, in its edition of all of the costs for health care, the administration, the White House, has put 6 years of benefits compared to 10 years of costs. In other words, it will be raising money for the next 10 years to provide only 6 years of benefits. That's why a lot of these benefits do not start until 2014, right, even though they expect it to begin raising taxes right now to pay for it. So that is a game of three-card Monte to say it only costs this much. Yeah, but you're only given us 6 years worth of benefits, although you're raising taxes for 10 years to pay for those 6 years. That's not right. So the ability to lay all this out in House committee hearings will be very significant.
Now, on the one hand, I got an email that ostensibly was from Vice President Joe Biden. I'm on all kinds of lists. And in it, he established that this Congress and this administration had cut taxes more than any group of lawmakers in decades, essentially. But what he's getting at is the extension of the Bush tax cuts, yeah, and these tiny little tax cuts they threw in so they could say, aha, we're tax cutters too. At the same time, though, they're loading on all of this cost for government to operate. That leads to this conversation, and that is the debt ceiling. We're at $14 trillion. That's $14 million in debt. What about this conversation? What should we be thinking about? What should we be watching as they talk about raising the debt ceiling?
Well, first of all, what a classic Washington, D.C. comment by the one that Joe Biden made, to suggest that because we're not raising your taxes, therefore your taxes are being cut. Oh, that's so misleading. Yeah. And regarding the $14 trillion debt ceiling, there will be a vote on whether to raise the debt ceiling beyond $14 trillion to pay for all of the new spending. Some believe that Congress has the responsibility to raise the debt ceiling to pay for all of the funding of programs that the White House has wanted and Congress passed. But Republicans who are in the Tea Party mode say this is a hill to die on. If we simply do not vote to raise the debt limit, and we should not, then we've got to deal with the budget that's out of control. So which view will prevail is something that we'll be watching closely.
It's going to be a real showdown, because if that should happen, the folks on the other side are going to say, see, the Republicans shutting down everything all the time. They just want government to come to an end and all kinds of other silly things.
Well, that's right. But if they've got backbone, the Republicans need to take this fight to the House floor.
All right. Well, Tom, thank you for your insights, and thank you for watching. We always appreciate getting your insights and your comments and questions. You may write to us at mail@citizenlink.com. We encourage you to pray for the new Congress, as they all, for many of them, are getting used to their new offices and a new city and where everything goes in their offices and all the new people they're working with. Pray that they'll get adjusted quickly and can focus on the important work of the country. And remember, stand tall and be heard.